Hello and welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have another special game. This one was played in 1987 between Mikhail Tal, who was playing with white, and Anatoly Karpov. In today's game, Mikhail Tal sacrificed two rooks and he managed to completely annihilate Karokar defense of Anatoly Karpov. So truly a spectacular game. I'm sure you will enjoy. And of course, if you like this video, please make sure to leave a like or comment the video as it helps me a lot. So without further ado, we will go straight into the game. Our today's game started with e4 and Anatoly Karpov replied with c6, so this is the Karokan defense. At this moment, Tal decided to surprise his opponent and he plays a little bit rare move, c4, so-called Panov attack in the Karokan defense. Right now, the black decided to play d5, immediately counter-attacking in the center. Our game continued with e takes on d5 for Tal, c takes on d5, c takes on d5, and right now black decided that it is not best to take this pawn because white has knight c3 and he will have a free development with a tempo. So that is the reason why this wasn't played, and actually after c taking on d5, Anatoly Karpov decided to play knight f6. Our game continued with knight c3 for Mikhail Tal, and right now Anatoly Karpov retakes this pawn with knight takes on d5. Mikhail Tal continues his development with knight f3, and right now black decided to take this knight, so knight takes on c3, b takes on c3, and Karpov played g6 with the idea to fianchetto this dark squared bishop and to aim at this diagonal of the white. Our game continues with d4. Idea of Karpov is simple. He wants to lock this position in the center and to gain more space, and obviously to close this scary dark squared diagonal. So our game continues with bishop g7 for black and bishop d3 for Mikhail Tal, developing castle for black, castle for white as well. And right now our game continued with knight c6 for black. Right now white decided to play rook e1 with the idea to aim at this weak pawn on e7 square. Right now rook e8 was played for Anatoly Karpov. His idea is to push this pawn on e5 and to start and develop his position as well with the counter attack in the center. Our game continued with bishop g5 for Mikhail Tal. He wants to pin this pawn, and right now pushing this pawn is not a possibility. In this position, Anatoly Karpov decided to play bishop e6, although this is not a bad move. He also had another move here, which is queen a5 with the idea to attack this pawn and to also aim at this bishop as well. So this was a good way to continue this game. Of course, this wasn't played, but bishop e6 was played, and we are already in first critical part of our game. Right now Mikhail Tal completely surprises Anatoly Karpov with his first sacrifice. So Mikhail Tal, in his style, firstly sacrifices the rook, as Levi Rosman would say. Rook takes on e6. Right now you have to take this rook, and after this bishop c4 was played for Mikhail Tal, aiming at this weak pawn. Black in this position decided to defend this pawn with queen d6, and our game continued with queen e2 for Mikhail Tal, again pressuring this pawn on e6. Our game continued with knight e8 for Anatoly Karpov. He wants to try and protect this weak pawn on e6. Mikhail Tal continues the pressure with rook e1, and right now Anatoly Karpov finds a really nice move. He plays rook c8, which seems like it's not the best move, but actually it is the best move of this position, because right now if you decide to play bishop takes on e6, after queen takes on e6, queen takes on e6, knight takes on e6, rook retakes, and rook takes on c3, you are material up as black and you want to exchange. There are no more queens on the board, and this is a game you can win as black. Obviously this pawn is weak, this pawn is weak as well, and you will have a double pawns on this side here. So this is not a good exchange for Mikhail Tal to do right now in this part of the position. So that is the reason that after rook c8 and aiming at this bishop, white decided to play knight d2, protecting this bishop, giving another protector on this c4 square and another protector of this bishop. And our game continued with king h8. He wants to remove himself from this dangerous white square diagonal. And Mikhail Tal continues the game with knight e4. Right now this queen is under attack. Black decided to play queen c7. Right now this bishop is under attack. That is the reason why Mikhail Tal has to play bishop b3. And right now Anatoly Karpov plays e5, a really decent move. He wants to develop his position, and he wants to put his queen on this central square if the trade happens, of course. Mikhail Tal sees this and he doesn't want this position to happen, so Mikhail Tal now plays h4, completely sacrificing this pawn on d4. Anatoly Karpov says, yes, I will take your pawn, and he continues with e takes on d4. Mikhail Tal now completely ignores this pawn and completely ignores the idea of retaking this pawn, and he plays in his own style h5, trying to pressure the black king as much as possible. Our game continued with g takes on h5 for Anatoly Karpov. This wasn't the best move. Actually, the best move in this position was queen b6, silent move that covers this pawn and most importantly covers this square here on g6. Of course, this wasn't played, and after h5, g takes on h5 was played, and our game continued with queen takes on h5. Although this is a decent move, this actually misses a win for Mikhail Tal. This was a blitz game actually, and that is probably the reason why Mikhail Tal missed a tactical win here. So after g takes on h5, there is great move here and a great attack for Mikhail Tal. Unfortunately, he missed it, and it is knight f6. So I will show you what would happen firstly if you decide to take this knight with your pawn. Of course, your rook will fall, and after bishop f8, queen takes on f8 is a checkmate. So this is not a good idea to take this knight. So after knight f6, if you decide to pick up this knight with your bishop, then the game continues with bishop takes on f6 check. Again, if you take with e takes on f6, queen takes on e8 check, king g7, rook e7 check, and after queen e7, queen takes on e7, we are simply winning this game because we have a huge material advantage. And by the way, after bishop taking on f6, the only remaining move was e taking on f6, because your king, as you can see, there are no free squares for him, so you have to take and you have to enter this position. So that is the reason why this wasn't good as well. So after knight f6, there is another option here. If you decide to save your rook, for example, and you play rook f8 in this position, then we have another tactical strike with knight takes on h7. If you decide to take with your king, then we continue with queen h5 check. After this move, the only remaining move for black is bishop h6, and after queen takes on h6, this is a checkmate. So this was a great line, and unfortunately a great victory missed by Mikhail Tal, probably because this was a rapid game. So our game continued after queen taking on h5 with rook f8 for Anatoly Karpov. Right now in this position, Tal decided to play bishop c2, so he's moving his bishop on more dangerous square, because right now after removing your knight from this e4 square, there will be a checkmate threat on h7. And in this position, Karpov actually finds a move that equalizes the game, which is queen e5, a really decent move. And by the way, all of Karpov's moves were pretty much decent. He found all the best ideas in this game. And right now in this position, Mikhail Tal decided to surprise Anatoly Karpov again with his move knight to g3, leaving this rook on e1 completely free for taking, which Karpov obviously accepted. Queen takes on e1 check, king h2, and right now black decided to protect this checkmate threat with h6. There was another way to defend this position for black. Instead of playing h6, there was actually a sacrifice with bishop h6. Firstly, I will show you what would happen if Mikhail Tal decided to play queen takes on h6. Although it looks dangerous, black is able to defend this position simply by playing rook f7, and actually black is doing better. But unfortunately for Karpov, Mikhail Tal doesn't have to pick this bishop with his queen, but he can pick it up with his bishop. So after bishop taking on h6, and if you play bishop f7, right now there is another idea for Mikhail Tal with bishop takes on h7. And right now, if you decide to pick up this bishop with your queen, then we have queen e8 checkmate. And taking this bishop with your rook is a bad idea for Anatoly Karpov. So that is the reason that after bishop h7, Anatoly Karpov can maybe play queen e6 in this position, but then Mikhail Tal would have bishop f5. And right now, if you decide to pick up with your rook, then we have knight f5. And after king g8, this would be the position that would transpire after this set of moves. As you can see, white is doing a little bit better, but still a very difficult game to play both as black and white. If black decided If black is able to counterattack this white's attack, he will be able to win this game. So that is the reason why bishop h6 was better than h6. And we will now go back to our game. So after h6 was played for Anatoly Karpov, game continued with bishop takes on h6 for Mikhail Tal. And right now king g8 was played for black. I want to show you some other lines. For example, in this position, if Anatoly Karpov decided to play something like queen e6, then we continue the game with bishop c1 discovered check, and you have to go with king g8. Then we continue again with bishop h7 check. We are creating a mating net, king h8, bishop g6 check, king g8, and queen h7 is the checkmate. So after queen e6, bishop c8, and king g8, there is another possibility here. Actually, after bishop c1 was played, you can play maybe bishop h6, but after bishop taking on h6, again we will create a checkmating net really soon, and this is again winning for white. So this is not a good possibility and not a good way to finish the game for black. So that is the reason why Mikhail Tal, after bishop taking on h6, he played king g8. And our game continues with incredible attack by Mikhail Tal, firstly by taking this bishop on g7. Right now our game continued with rook taking on f2, which led to a great attack and a checkmate for Mikhail Tal. But let me just show you. So after bishop g7, maybe if you decide to take this with your king, then we have queen g6 check, and after you go to h8, we have queen h7 checkmate. So there is not many options for Anatoly Karpov in this position. So practically he was forced to move his rook somewhere. He decided to play rook f2, and after this move Mikhail Tal creates an amazing checkmating attack. So firstly queen h7 check, king goes on f7, queen g6 check, king is forced to go on g8, and after bishop h6 check, Anatoly Karpov decided to resign because there is no way of stopping the checkmate for white. The only remaining move is king h8, and after that you can give a checkmate on g7, you can also give a checkmate on h7, and the game is done. So this is how Mikhail Tal sacrificed 2 rooks, and he managed to win against Anatoly Karpov in incredible tactical attack. And this was all I prepared for you in this game. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to leave a comment, like, and share this video, as it helps me a lot. And as always, we will see each other in the next video. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.